listeners are as important as our guests.
You get ready because the conversation will be hot and better yet, mobile. Download the New Orleans Talk Network app available on Android, iPhone, iPad, and you can listen to us on the web at www.neworleanstalknetwork.com. Write down our talk line at 504-341-TALK. That's 504-341-8255. Interactive and worldwide. That's what we are. Join in on the real conversation and tell a friend about.
Hi, I'm Sheriff Joe Lapinto, and you are watching the New Orleans Talk Network.
This is Congressman Cedric Richmond, and you're watching the New Orleans Talk Network.
And we have a tentative caller. I don't know what that was. Maybe, hopefully, it's not someone calling me. Anyway, because of that, I'm going to be the guinea pig. I'm going to be the first test subject here on the air. So let's see. Tell us what you need from me, and let's see where we're going. And we will break if and, of course, when the caller calls in, so we can have one of you out in the audience get a real reading. Not that mine's not, but this is just to get it going so you see how it goes. So, Robyn, take it away. What do I need to tell you? You know my name is Bob, or Robert, Bob. So what do you need beyond that?
Okay, that's all I need right now, but I'm going to tell you, I usually activate a few days in advance,
okay.
And I'm going to tell you right now, your mother will not leave me alone.
Oh, so you've inherited her.
Yeah, she has been she's been in my ear probably for the last 3 or 4 days.
Well, may I tell the audience, this is not a recent passing, so it's not, because I've had, as I think might have mentioned to Robyn, since we're friends over the years, that I've had in the month of July was just a horrible month. 5 folks near and dear to me, some relatives, some none, passed within a week, which was shocking, and I figured it was going to be one or more of those since that was the proximity of time. My mom actually died at 80 years old in 1988. So September 14th. So not that that's giving any more information to Robyn, but it's giving you all. So you can see it's not someone who I was expecting would be someone within that 1 month parameter, one of those 5 people. So we're talking about someone that's, God, how many years is that? 8, 12 and 18. That's like 30 years ago, huh? I mean, not
right.
that I forgot my mom, but it's just, this is shocking. So go ahead, oh my goodness, you got me excited here. Go ahead.
Well, I'm going to tell you right now, it doesn't surprise me, because if her passing was September 14th, then we're very close to that date. And people come in a lot of times during the times when they passed her around their birthday.
I didn't think of the connection. I wasn't even thinking the date, September 14th, just a few days away, let alone what you just explained, that the birthday sometime is some window that they would use to come forward. So, oh, good. This is really making it interesting. Go ahead, Robyn.
So I want to first tell you that she loves you, and that she when she crossed over, that she sent a lot of love to you. So you may have felt very warm, even though with her passing, you felt very warm, and that there was a real strong connection. I mean, a really strong connection.
Good.
She crossed over. When she crossed over, she wasn't quite ready, but she did cross over and did go. When people cross over, they go in pure love. Sometimes they stick around and want to come back down and make sure people are okay, that they'll be very supportive. You may have felt, absolutely, you felt. I want to use warm. That's the word I hear, is a warm feeling about her, and which some of it might have been grief, but there was that you knew that when she crossed over, that it was going to be okay for her.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it was a little bit shy. She had been sick for not sick like we know, continuously sick for a long period of time, but she died for something that wasn't really anything that we had experienced, and it was really relatively short. So that was unexpected, just like my father was too, but he was a natural heart attack. But he died, oh my goodness, like 20-something years before. So she was alone. Her other 2 children lived apart. So I was really her closest thing, because I didn't marry till late. So she was always close to me. And then after my divorce, of course, not that we weren't close then, but we reunited because we were both single again. So until her demise, that relationship really gelled again. Let's put it that way. What else?
And you were talking about your father. He's pissed that he left this earth so quickly.
Yes.
It was too fast, and he's not happy. He is not happy. And I suspect that he'll come down sooner rather than later. I mean, he wants to be back down on earth. So he will probably come back, probably not in your lifetime, but soon. If you believe in reincarnation, I have a tendency to believe in reincarnation. that he will be coming back. Now, a lot of times it's not the person per se, but there will be an essence of that person, because you're looking at energy. I see people who have passed over kind of in energy balls. And so his energy, his essence will be back down. I don't remember. Do you have children?
No, I do not.
Okay. So anyway, he's going to come back down.
Now, I've got to pursue this before, because we had never chit-chatted about reincarnation. So this is the first I'm hearing of your belief there, and I'm not surprised. But when you say, there's all these common myths, so when people talk about that, oh, well, you're going to come back as a dog, or do you have any feeling for? You mentioned as a spirit, which that sounds great. I could fathom that more than transferring to another species or stuff like that. Do you have any feeling along those lines? Will that spirit inhabit someone else or something else, or you don't know, or just float?
No, I believe he will come in as his own person. I do see him coming in as a baby, so definitely will be human. I also see him. He wants to come back, man. He does. He says, it was way too short. I had things to do, and I think he really enjoyed life.
He did. And yes and no. He loved, just like I do, he loves his career. He had one position. Of course, he got promoted. One company all his life. From early on in college, they supported him through college. He didn't even go to the war. He was so valuable. And all the way, he stuck with that company till the end. And the only part about the life, and this is where I think he would miss the part of life, is that he wanted to see his children. I was the first child to graduate from college. And he had a specific college, a specific high school for us. And I followed that route. So he was very proud of that. And he stayed for work for maybe 1 or 2 more years so he could just accumulate a little more funds, obviously, for retirement. And the poor gentleman had 9 months of retirement and passed. So that was what took hard on us as well as him, because, the poor man was just ripening to his new life, to a relaxed life where he didn't have any of the worries of the typical parenthood and life, that he could enjoy his spouse and children and grandchildren with the other siblings until a reasonable time, and he didn't have that. So he really was cheated of a retirement life or a subsequent life. So that's why I would imagine he would certainly be grateful for any more time that he could come back on this earth.
Yes, and so he will come back, and it's not so much he has karma, because I don't see that. I see more that he wants the, I call it the sensual, or the life of being able to touch things, being able to feel things. And it seems to me that, did he like to eat? Did he like some specific foods? Is that one of the things?
He was he was German. My mother was French. So there was kind of not a class of food in one respect, but really, he really gravitated to the French cooking, because I guess his whole family was German, so they had all the German food. So he would want that occasionally, but part of his movement to his spouse was to get a whole new comfortable food, especially here in New Orleans. So he did, but he did have a pretty specific regimen. So he was a very disciplined individual, very intelligent, analytical. And so because of that regimen, that structure, he did eat certain foods, but he did like shifting from his childhood food cuisine to his adult cuisine.
Right, I see that. He says that he wants to come back. Well, be in New Orleans too. That, your food is excellent. So I think that's the reason why he wants to come back and go back and have try more foods than just what he had.
Exactly.
But like I said, people, it's kind of more, I use the word sensual, and I don't mean it in a sexual way, but more of kind of, the feeling, the touching, being able to be a part of life, the physicalness of being human. And so he really wants to come back and re-experience that.
Good, well, good. Any more on my mom? Can we get back to her? Not that I want to cut short, but I mean of him, but I'd like to, since she seemed so eager, other than also expressing coming back or wanting to be back and close and warm, and love. And anything else more on her that you'd like to add, or she wants to add?
Well, she mostly, actually, she's not as excited about coming back down. She kind of likes being in the realm she is.
Oh, good. That makes me
that,
feel good because of the way she passed, Go ahead.
She also wants to, feels like she can do more for her children by being over on the other side than she could have done
Here.
on this side.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Yeah.
Feels so. She's very supportive of all her children, and she comes in. Now, do you have nieces or nephews? Is that because it feels like there's a child or someone younger?
Yes, I have. Well, I had an older sibling, 10-year older brother who passed a few years ago, and he had 3 children, and I think he had 4 children, and I believe all of them had children as well. I have a sister who is 5 years older than me and had 1 child by her first husband, who has just been deceased in that group in July, and then had 2 children from her second husband, who just deceased about 3 years ago. But all of these children, the actual children, are grown, and many of the grandchildren are grown and have great-grandchildren. So
wow.
I don't know if that answers.
She tells me it's the middle boy. So whoever had a boy that was in the middle.
Yes, there was 2 boys in the beginning, and then there were 3 boys in the beginning, and the last individual 4th one was the girl. So go ahead, the second boy. So, I'm fixated on who that is. Go ahead, I know who that is.
Yes, so it's the middle boy. She's talking about the middle boy. So she comes in and sees him quite a bit. So whatever he's going through, he needs to know that she's around him. Now I see that there's either something spiritual or religious about him. So I don't know if that means he goes to church, but there's something that is about him that makes him different than the other kids.
Okay. Well, the first 2 boys and the girl, I believe, divorced. I know the girl remarried and had children, I think, as well with the new husband. I can't remember. I get mixed up because I'm so old. But both the first 2 boys are at least divorced, and I don't know whether or not they have, because I don't have in touch with them that much, or whether or not they have remarried.
Okay, so that it's not so much about remarrying as it is about them on a spiritual level.
Yeah.
So there's something.
They were all raised in the same faith that we were, but of course, people go different routes once they get of their own age, in their own persuasion. So I couldn't say what, one is more inclined to than the other in regard to religious preferences.
Right, and it may not even be about religious preferences. It could even be about psychic stuff, where he's very sensitive. He may be more of a portal.
Well, you hit the word there. I found him to be, in knowing him growing up, more sensitive, certainly than the first one boy, and probably the girl, and maybe even the third boy. So usually the word sensitive is a good word, because I do think he was the most of the 4 sensitive.
Right.
Okay.
Right. So that's what she's telling me. The middle boy, he's the sensitive one. So
Okay.
I think she just wants to confirm. Sometimes she wants to confirm, yes, this is me, just to let you know,
Right.
and she'll give me something specific. Or the other person that's gone over to the other side will give me something specific. I had read for someone, and I saw a yellow caterpillar. Mm-hmm. And the woman told me the day before her son had found a yellow caterpillar. Wow. So they'll come in just to confirm, hey, this is really me. I want you to know this is really me, and they'll give me something specific to let you know that yes, it's them. Something specific to what
anything
you would know.
else? Anything else on either one of those parents? Or Don, I might ask you about someone. So, but I don't want you to cut short. Anything you have.
No, they just send you love. That's it. It's just kind of a little, I'm okay, and and your father's saying, I'm coming back. I'm coming back. So
both of those are exciting wishes. So now, I have, as I mentioned, it turned out 6 now, because the other person, the 6th person who was hanging on, took a few weeks before he passed. But can you see any of those, or should I need to give you a name or what of the 5 or 6 that have recently passed? 5 in the week of July and 1 in latter August.
Okay, so go ahead and give me the person that you really want to talk to.
Well, who I'd like to speak the most to is one of my closest friends, whom you knew, Richard. And
Richard.
He
and how old was he? Was he in his 60s?
74 or 73.
74, so he was older. Yeah. Ooh. Wow. He wasn't surprised, but it was unexpected type thing.
Exactly. He had. Go ahead.
He had a little problem passing over. It wasn't that he wasn't happy. It was kind of like he was startled. So when he passed over, he was startled because it was unexpected, and he thought he had more time. That's
Absolutely.
What he said.
Absolutely.
I thought I had more time. And he said it wasn't right. So is he the one that he had the wife that is ill too?
Exactly. And I'll go ahead and elaborate to the audience without giving too much details. But his wife took a very permanent condition, which after 3 or 4 years, going 2 years now, became totally disabling. No longer able to function for herself, but still has sometimes clarity of mind. Okay, and she has round-the-clock care, and I visit her a lot because they've both been friends since 12 years old. He was a surgeon, and he was keeping up he closed out one of his practices for the sole purpose of 2 more years, so he would reach his 50th year in that business, in his career growth, and also make sure he had enough aside to take care of his wife, and that's all he wanted, was to live till his wife passed, to see her through. And unfortunately, he's had numerous conditions, been a battler all of his life since first day of his work when he had a serious automobile accident, to numerous conditions. And this condition that they've been treating for a long time, identifying, turned out to be the most aggressive situation, and within a week he was gone. He went to the hospital, he was going to the emergency room, put him in, and like I said, I'm not going to give details, but he fought constantly and eventually refused the further treatment and accepted, but did not want to go because of that lifelong ambition to be with his wife until she passed. So
yeah, you know what he said? He waited too long. He should have taken time off sooner.
Exactly. We all begged him, but everyone has their own game plan and vision for their lives. So you can't, especially intelligent people, they're not going to just take other people's advice. So anyway.
Right.
Okay, dear. Well, you've done great by me. I don't know if the audience is bored or not, but we do have our caller on line 1, and she's a good old friend, honey. A good old friend. Sorry, good young friend, but of long standing. That sounds better. Rose, are you on the line, dear? Yep. You told me she's on the line. Is Rose there?
Hello, Bob. Hello, Robyn.
Good morning.
Hi, Rose.
Okay, well, I'm going to step aside, and we're so pleased that you did call us because Robyn has been doing a bang-up job on me, but we want to have some people who the audience wants to hear, not just about me. So y'all go ahead.
Rose, is your father passed?
No.
Rose, did you hear that?
Yeah, she said no.
Yes.
Oh.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
So
No, he's not.
Okay, so then it must be your grandfather because I see the father. It is on your father's side. It is the grandfather. Did you have a relationship with him?
No.
No.
Coming in. Okay, well, he's coming in. He's starting out. So he is starting out to tell you that he's here. Even though you didn't have a relationship with him, if he'd already passed, he's there with you at times. And he brings in angels to you. So if you feel, it feels to me that oftentimes you feel like energy around you, that that there are people around you, that there's, I should say people as much as I see angels around you. There's quite a few. Then there's also a spirit guide, and this is a female. sometimes she really tries to contact you. I don't know if you actually feel it, but there are times when it's kind of like you go, I wonder why that happened. That's unusual. I didn't expect that to happen. And this is kind of like, you lose things and you can't find it, and next minute you find it. It's like, I see also she does touch you. She touches you in the back, up around your shoulder, but up between your neck and your shoulder, but on your back. So she does come, and it feels like to me that you wonder about that. You think that you're imagining it. So there are people around you, and I'm going to say spirits around you, angels around you, that kind of keep you on the straight and narrow. And the reason why I'm saying that is sometimes you get distracted, and they're helping you to bring you back on the right path. And so I just kind of want you to know that your grandfather keeps on saying, I'm there for you. So even though that you didn't have a relationship, there must be something either around your grandfather's relationship with your father that he wants to take care of you. He wants to make sure that you're okay. And so I also see that maybe something happened to you when you were younger. That is the reason why he comes to you. I'm not sure if you were sick or you had an accident or you had, someone in the family did. So they are helping you to stay stable. I'm going to just use the word stable, and I don't mean that in a derogatory way. I think that it's more about, you not losing. Excuse me, you not losing faith, that you feel confident that the way you're going is the right way of going.
Well, if I can intervene for a second, why don't we take this tack? Not that you're not doing well here. I understand it. Sometimes it goes, but I know if I understood Rose, she had a specific person in mind, and maybe if she gives you that name, if she still wants to pursue that tack, and let's see if there's any connection there. If not, then we'll come right back to what we're discussing. Is that all right with you, Rose?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Bob. His name is Wesley.
Wesley.
Tomorrow is the 1-year anniversary of his death. Right. So I have felt him around at this time.
And I know I happen to know you were very close to this gentleman and celebrated his life beautifully at his demise. So I was wondering, is there any chance, Robyn, that instead of the grandfather, it could be this gentleman, or it's you're that definitive in your ideas that you see that the other one was the grandfather? Because I know these two had a very good relationship. But if not, let's focus on Wesley and tell us if you see Wesley, or is he coming through to speak to Rose? Okay,
so the grandfather may have come in to activate the situation. So I'm going to let you know. So with Wesley, and you said that you feel like he's around you, and he is. I'm going to tell you right now, he is. I see him connecting with you in the heart, heart to heart. So he wants to thank you for being there for him. Oh my goodness, I'm sorry. So he was very sad when he left. It's not that he wasn't happy. He was just very sad when he left. When he crossed over, he was very in an emotional sadness around him. I want to say he wasn't ready in the sense that as far as his age, he wasn't ready, but he knew that he had to go because I want to say his body was giving out on him, but more of the things that were going on with him physically, he had no other choice. I'm going to tell you this. He had no other choice. There was no way he could make it different.
Right.
Does any of that sound right?
Thank you. Yes, that makes sense.
Oh, good. Okay.
And there, you were right. There is a very strong relationship between the two of you. He appreciated everything that you did for him, everything that was. I mean, you put yourself out quite a bit for him. And, it feels like that you were the one that was there for him, even if you weren't physically there when he passed. He recognizes and acknowledges that you were there for him, more so than other people. He's even saying more so than the people that should have been there for him. So to me, that would mean that perhaps his family contact wasn't as strong as it could have been. What our expectations of what our family does for us.
Correct.
That he felt much more connected to you, and he wants to acknowledge you. And you're right, he does come in, and I see him surrounded by angels, and that may be why I see the angels around you too. He does bring angels into you. I mean, you have lots of angels. I mean, lots of angels around you. You should feel very blessed.
Yeah, lucky Rose, huh? She didn't give me one. I didn't get a half angel wing, Rose, and you got multiple angels. Wow. Anything else?
Well, do you feel connected to the angels? Do you feel like that you feel like you get spiritual uplifts periodically where you can, you may be kind of in a funk and then all of a sudden there's a rush. The best way I can explain it is a rush from your heart to your spiritual body, because that's what I see. It's coming from your heart. You have a lot of stuff around your heart, meaning, and this is good stuff, lots of stuff around your heart as far as it is, I don't want to say supportive, but that it expands. So there are times when you feel this expansion and this uplift. And I don't know if you go to church or if you pray or something like that, but that feels like it's a lot of times people who pray will have this uplift. And I do feel like you get that. He's around during those times. Okay. When it's like I said, you are on the right path. Even at times you doubt yourself. You are on the right path.
I have to interrupt it again. Unfortunately, we skipped our first break, which I wasn't supposed to do, but we do have a second. Rose, do you want to hold on and continue? I know you're going to be at work, or are you satisfied? I'll give you like one more minute to wrap up if you'd rather do that.
Yeah, no, this is great. No, Robyn was right on target, so I really appreciate it, and that's what I needed to hear. So I'm fine with you taking a break.
Okay. Well, okay. Do you want to hold on, or you have to go?
Yeah, I'm going to go, but thank you so much. That was wonderful.
Well, Rose, we really appreciate it. Thank you so much for being our first real live caller in this segment, and we're hoping that it will develop more callers because I think it's worthwhile. I know I was very pleased with mine. Take care, Rose. It's always good talking to you.
Thank you so much.
All righty.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Okay, folks, unfortunately, we do have to we skipped the first break, which has me in trouble. So we do have to take our break there. We'll come back in a couple of minutes, and let's see what we'll do after that. Remember, you can call the number on the television, on the screen, and I'll give you the number when we come back for those who are listening, if you want to call.
How the time flies. What's up, y'all? It's your girl, Dr. Rhonda M. Lawson. And can you believe that it has been 1 year since Horizons with Meet the World Image Solutions hit your airwaves? We have interviewed authors, entrepreneurs, playwrights, musicians, and everyone in between, all to bring you the best of literary conversation. And we plan to do it again this year, but only better. So join us right here in the Literary Lounge each Wednesday night at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, right here on the New Orleans Talk Network. See you there.
Hi, I'm Prophetess Charlene Duforce.
And I'm Bishop Carol Duforce Sr.
And we're from Living Witnesses Ministries.
And we also have a program on the internet called Living by the Word Daily. And we're seen every Wednesday from 11 a.m. to 12 noon Central Time on the New Orleans Talk Network.
And we would like to invite you to tune in with us every Wednesday morning, again, 11 to 12 noon, Central Daylight Time. Please join us as we teach the Word of God. Thank you, and God bless.
God bless you.
We're back. Talk What You Know returns on Wednesday mornings at 8 a.m. We got a brand new co-host by the name of Bob B. And hey, that's me. Also, we got some new features. We're going to be giving away, have a weekly raffle of prizes. There are multiple ways for you to win, and there's a bevy of prizes. So we need you to come on back, join us on Wednesday mornings at 8 o'clock for Talk What You Know on the New Orleans Talk Network. Back again. All right. I didn't get any intro, so it's guesswork today. Once again, folks, if you're just joining us, I heard that YouTube was having a little trouble with hearing on someone who was watching on YouTube. I apologize for that. Hopefully Mike's listening and making that correction, if whatever we can do to make that correction. As you know, you can watch us on Facebook or YouTube or on our network, directly on the NewOrleansTalkNetwork.com situation. All right. Again, we introduced today Robyn's ability to communicate with people who have already predeceased them, with their relatives, friends, etc. She does this, she has her own service for tarot card reading as well as this. You can contact her through her website, robyndennen.com, ROBYNDENNEN.com. And you can find out more, see some testimonials. She also actually does this now in groups, whether it's an individual, sort of like a Tupperware party at someone's home, or also in groups. We're hoping to get her down here next year to do a group stage like some of these other mediums do, especially mediums with regard to, because people do all are so curious about the afterlife and, how their folks are being treated or what is actually happening, if anything at all. So what we're going to do is, again, I'm going to tell you the number, even though it's on the screen, if you like, because we can certainly do justice. I know Robyn can, in the last part of the program, to someone else if you'd like to call in. We call it guerrilla calling. But the number is 563 999 1808. 563-999-1808. It makes no sense, no rhyme or reason, but it's just something you have to memorize or write down and read in front of you. So please give us a call. Tell Mike your first name. And if you have someone you specifically want to contact, give him his or her name as well. And he'll pass that on to me, and then we'll let you speak directly to Robyn. Meanwhile, Robyn, do you think you could drag up anyone else in by either past or present to keep busy? Because again, I'm fascinating, and I guess it's my hour literally. I'd be glad to see if there's anything more you can tell me about it. I'll give you any more clues or names. I know we were speaking about my closely friend who deceased unexpectedly in July, and his circumstances and what it left us with, etc. But I do have a few other people. I don't know if you want to go on or anything more on him because of the strong relationship we had most of his life, especially in the last 10 or 15 years with both he and his wife. So anything you want to do on that, or would you like to do something else?
Okay, so I want to just finish up on Rose's. I just want her to know also that.
Good. Hopefully she's listening.
Okay, that he says the last, I don't remember his name.
Wesley.
He says
Wesley.
What was his name?
Wesley, I believe.
Wesley. Okay, Wesley. That he says that he loves her, and he wants to know that at times he does hold her hand. So if she ever feels something in her hand and it seems odd, that's Wesley holding her hand. So I just wanted to finish that up because he's bugging the heck out of me.
So you're telling me Wesley, her closest friend, or I don't say closest friend, but someone very close to her, is actually reaching out to her and touching her hand. But then you also told me there was a female spirit guide who touched her on her either right or left shoulder back area. Is that right? Right. And then she has not hundreds, but multiples of angels surrounding her. Is that right?
Right. She's probably been protected in times when she may have been in a horrible situation. They are the ones that uplift her. Okay. So that's
Well, we'll
What was
send
the
her.
name of the,
I'm sorry?
Go ahead.
No, you want his name again? Wesley?
Yes, his name again, and
Wesley.
then we'll go on to someone. No, the name
Oh,
of the person.
Richard.
Richard, that's what I thought it was.
I'm sorry.
So he wants to recognize what a good friend you were to him, and he appreciates the fact that you've done such a wonderful job with his wife, and also that he knows that she was in good hands because of all the people that were there for her. So he wants to acknowledge not only you, but all the people who've come to help her with her illness.
Okay.
I can talk. I would rather talk offline regarding the rest of that about her.
Oh, that'd be great.
So we'll talk more on a personal level.
Sure.
Now, who else would you like? I know you had quite a few friends. So do you want to give me someone else's name
But only deceased ones, right?
Right, the deceased. Yes, preferably the deceased ones.
Because I don't want to know too much about the ones that are still with me.
I don't think they want you to know too much either.
And I'm sure you're much more accurate in that than my statement. Let's see. Okay, one of the folks, now this was a distant, not a relative, but a distant friend who was really closer to some other friends of ours' daughter. And this young lady unfortunately contracted a very severe cancer about 5 to 6 years ago. Lived in California with her husband, came here to live for many years, contracted the illness, stayed a few. He was transferred back with he's an air pilot. Her name was Shelley, and she passed. We knew she's been suffering for a long time, trying cures all around the world and seeing the world for the last time. And she passed, like I say, during that same week. So if you see a Shelley, that would be her. If you see more recently a gentleman named Earl, that would be my niece, who we talked about a little. Her father, in other words, my sister's first husband, and he just passed after a serious bout of cancer as well. Additionally, as a friend of theirs, a mutual friend, even though he's much younger than me, an artist that will be going to, they're doing a big gallery celebration of his life and his art next April in New Orleans. And we'll tell the artists more about it since we have that art show we call Artist Review. His name is Dale from Baton Rouge. Now my old mind's...
Stop for a minute. I can only do one at a time, and I got to remember everybody's name.
Okay, so there's a Shelley. There's a Earl, there's a Dale, Earl and Dale are male. Now, Richard was one of those.
I got to write their names down.
And
so let's start with Shelley.
Okay.
And Shelley, how old was Shelley?
Shelley.
She feels younger.
Yes. Oh, much younger. I would say she's in her 40s, mid-40s.
That's what I figure. She's, and she's the one. Did she have children? Did she have a child?
No, they did not.
Well, then she must have been.
To my knowledge, they did not. And I don't know if she was married before. I didn't know her till she moved from California here with her husband and became friends of mutual friends, their daughters, and they all were a clique together and hung out and we knew a lot of things. So that's how I knew her. It was not as close as some of these other relationships. But she was a lovely girl, wonderful spirit, etc.
Okay, so she, even if she didn't have children, there was someone close to her that was of child's age.
Okay.
So most likely it was a friend's daughter that she felt close to, and she would have considered like a niece, or it could have even been a niece, but there was someone younger than her that would have been in the child age for her. So you know.
So I will follow up with these friends that are close friends who were her age about that. So you're saying that to let them know that we actually talked a little bit about her. So you're saying that she had some relationship with a young girl who was either a relative or Fred's relative. Is that right?
Right, and I would say that she might have been a godmother to a child.
Okay.
And she wants to recognize that was really important to her in her life, was that being a godmother or having
however that relationship was established. Yes.
Right, and it's like I was the other mother. I was the godmother. So
I got
the mother. There was a mother theme to it,
got
and if she didn't have any children, it was really important that this child was in her life. Now I think that the child now is a young adult.
Probably, sure.
So it gave her. I want to say it gave her relief because of what happened in her life, and so it was really important to her. She says this was really important. It was significant. So one of her friends will probably know what.
I'm sure they know her a lot better than I would only know her at social occasions, but she was a real sweetheart and just full of life. Even when she got her prognosis, and she.
It was interesting because she actually was okay with the prognosis. So it's almost like she knew that her life was going to be short.
Oh, yeah. Yes. She was quite aware. And even though she tried these alternative and, from yoga, from spiritual, not just the typical medicinal stuff, but what I'm talking about, just the spiritual stuff. And she would go see people in Sri Lanka. She spent time there. In fact, they did a documentary on her life. During that time, because it was very, very well done. I mean, that was way before she died, but still, what I'm saying is part of her career, her journey to death, post-diagnosis. So, just a lovely girl, lovely girl.
Right, and she this was fixing some karma. So, this was related to karma for her.
I got it.
And then there's Earl. And Earl was, what relationship did he have with
He was my sister's first husband, my niece's father.
He did not want you to know. He does not want you to know his business.
Okay. He subsequently married. He had a wonderful wife who's all the way to his death, and two great sons, adult sons that have children, and they're all very close to my niece. Not unfortunately to his ex-wife, but very, very close. So. Anyway, so he doesn't want to see to me at all? Is that what you said? Talk to me?
Well, I'm just laughing because he said he doesn't want you to know his business.
Okay.
And I think that was because the divorce may not have, there was some contention.
Oh, my goodness, yes. Well, then, you said enough then. If it relates to that, that's certainly because, I guess maybe I got a little bit of overflow because of that situation being the brother, even though I wasn't supportive of the sibling in that regard, because it was not really it was not his fault as far as we know. So I understand totally. Anybody, you want to move into the more pleasant subject? Anybody else had left to give you any other names?
Okay, so Dale was the next one,
he's the artist. He's the deceased. Again, my niece, who we were just talking about, her father, she was married for X number of years. She had 2 daughters, and her husband, one of his best friends was this gentleman who was a rock star, and the other one was the artist. They were both brothers, and the younger one, Dale, passed away. Well, I don't know all the details, but it seemed to be unexpected during the same week in July. Wonderful artist who would have, he had like dual residence, his family residence in Baton Rouge, but he also had a place in New Orleans. He did a lot of traveling as well as tremendous art here. And design, he would do design work as well for people's homes and stuff like that, just painting in the traditional senses,
Right,
so,
and
go ahead.
he says that people didn't appreciate a lot of what he did, and a lot of it was because they were looking traditional, and he had other ideas, and he feels that sometimes that he didn't get to express his art. He didn't get to express himself at a level that he really wanted to.
I think that's very true, because he and I had this long before. This is years and years ago, when my niece was still married to the husband, and they all would, like I say, always have congregations together, and we just were chit-chatting one day, and I asked him more about his art, because I've always been interested in that, and he seemed, even though that was perhaps early on in his career, he still seemed to emote something. I don't remember the exact words, but there was some type of feeling that, he wasn't being accepted. That it was strictly for the artwork, but also social. I didn't get any of that, because he was a very popular, from what I understand, individual. but at the same time, I understand what you're saying. So I think that carried on. So it must have plagued him, most of his career, that he just didn't feel as acknowledged or welcomed in his profession, perhaps, as he would have liked to have been.
Right, and I think that he had to do more commercial work where he would have rather done more creative work.
Yes, and so many of our artists are literally starving artists because they won't take that route. They won't give up the what they love, their creative passion, even if it doesn't bring in any bread. And meanwhile, that's why they continue to have problems. Okay, anything else? Because we're down to the last 2 minutes. We're going to have to wrap up. But this has been exciting for me. Anything else you want to say about any of the folks that we've had today that have come and visited, which is great. I'm glad they were available today.
Well, your mom says goodbye again.
Oh, yeah.
And there's one other person that passed recently, too. Did you have another female that passed?
And it's terrible when you can't. And you're probably right. You probably have it. And I can't remember that last person. Because I tell you it was 6 and I named 5.
Right. I think that the last person, and if it isn't her, if it is a him, there is a relationship with a her around that him. So, but there is definitely someone on the other side.
Oh, no. I do remember that. And, gee, I should have known because it's a relative. It's not a female, it's a male. And
so did his wife or did his mother pass?
His wife passed a few years, 4 or 5 years before him.
Okay, yes. Okay, so that makes sense because she's with him. She wants you to know that she's with him and that they still hold their bond. So that which is really cool because when the husband went over, they are together. I'm going to let you know.
Well, we knew that. In fact, they were so close. He died. He was 94. She died, so she was 89. We thought, sure, he would not last a day after how oftentimes you hear these tragic stories where the husband and wife die within days of each other, from heartbreak as well. So, but anyway, but they had a wonderful life together. He was a former baseball player that was hurt, and he just spent immortal time with his wife and his children, just loved his family. That was his whole life, so that's great. All right, dear, we got to go. Listen, it's been fast moving, even though I thought we would be stretched here. I hope you didn't mind being taxed with all these people, on my side anyway. But I'm just thrilled, and I can't wait to pass some of that word on to the folks who will appreciate it as much as I did. Folks, next week we go back to, we have an artist next week instead of a world chef, a local artist. And so please stand tuned next week to Artist Review. Thanks again to Robyn. Don't forget RobynDennen.com. Contact her and contact us if you want to come on the show. Okay.
Network.